Joe, you guys had a 0 for 12 from three-quarter. You guys had different kind of challenges along the way. The game never really got too far away from you. How were you guys able to keep it close throughout those kind of periods of things not going your way, and then how did you manage to pull it away?
Our defense. I thought our defense was tremendous throughout the entire game. Usually when you have not really empty possessions. Usually when you go through, lulls offensively, at some point your defense cracks, and I thought tonight it didn't. Mainly because I thought we got great shots almost the entire game. We made the right read. When we got to our spacing, moved the ball. Anytime you kind of see the numbers from Drew and from Al and from those guys, it just shows that we're breaking down the layers of the defense. Of their defense. So I thought our defense kept us in it, and I thought we continued to fight for great looks throughout the night.
How do you keep the defense from cracking? Because it has in the past. We've seen it. How do you get past that and stick with it the way you did?
The guys communicated. I think the guys trusted each other. Guys had a level of physicality. But really it's about, in those moments, not putting guys to the free throw line, not giving up offensive rebounds, not getting out in transition, keeping it 5-on-5. And then it just allows you to battle. So I thought the guys they just battled through it together.
Joe, you talk a lot about manipulating the environment and things like that. When Jaylen, kind of gets into it with Giannis there, picks up Lillard full court, like what are you guys feeling? What are you feeling along the sideline when you see that?
Yeah, just that right there. Just using whether it's our opponents, using the refs, using the fans, using people near you to just manipulate that. So I thought that was great. I thought the elbow to the face kind of unlocked Jaylen a little bit. I thought the technical was tremendous by Jaylen, and I thought from there on in, it just brought out an edge in us, and we were able to feed off that. So just thankful for all those things that kind of brought the edge out of us.
This is another full first quarter for Jaylen. Jason's on the ball to close the game. How have those two kind of managed rotations and ball time and different sub patterns, things like that this year?
Yeah, they manage it by it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they're going to be out there and it's their job to deliver for us, and they do a tremendous job with their flexibility. And you don't want to be tied down to I have to do this in order to be good or I have to do that. They're just kind of like, I'll just do what we need to do to win and what makes the most sense. And when it's my time, we're going to execute, whether that's offensively or defensively. So they're both very open-minded to the process of winning, and they'll do what it takes, and it's a credit to them.
Joe, it feels like everyone on the roster is very capable of excelling in multiple areas. Like Jayson, obviously a great scorer, but then he'll have these passes when they double him, or Sam Hauser leveraging his threes into shots inside the arc. How important is that, especially in a night like tonight where the results aren't necessarily matching the process, like in that second quarter with the threes?
Yeah, as long as we have the process, the results will take care of themselves. So at the end of the day, there's full trust and alignment into what we're trying to accomplish. When we stick to that, nothing else matters. And so the guys do a tremendous job of trusting each other through that, and it's going to happen. So it's a credit to them defensively to be able to withstand the offensive lull and then in the second quarter against a tremendous team, and it just says a lot about the guys.
Joe, you get Drew Holiday back tonight after missing the last 2 games. What does his presence do for you guys, specifically on the defensive end?
I would say both ends of the floor. You got to think tonight he had some catches in the paint in the second half that drew 2 or got us layups because of his creativity. So we can change matchups. So tonight he guarded almost all 5 guys, and so he started on Andre Jackson tonight, moved to Giannis a little bit, was on Chris Middleton. So just his versatility and the ability to change our defenses a little bit with him is huge. His communication. And then offensively, he can just make plays, and he's gotten really good at finding ways to get his matchup to put 2 on the ball so he can create for others.
End of the game, it seemed like you guys were focusing on getting that Lopez onto Tatum matchup. And I think in the past, maybe you would have used that as an opportunity to take a step back and try to get separation, but it seemed he was very determined to drive and kick. What were you guys looking for as far as what kind of drive and kick opportunities that was, and how has that evolved over the last few years?
Well, in the first half, they showed what their coverage was going to be and what their adjustment was going to be when Lopez got to the perimeter. And so we just kind of leveraged that, and to get the best shot in halftime, we saw what the spacing was, and it was just, hey, when you have one of the best rim protectors away from the rim, here's what's available, and here's who's going to overhelp, and here's what we can get. And so the guys did a tremendous job just kind of executing the offensive coverages and the game plan, and it takes the spacing and it takes the reads to be able to do it. So they did a good job of it.
Joe, how much does kind of chaos and physicality fight complacency in seasons that obviously are pretty long? Is that part of what you like want to see where you create moments within the game in order to try to re-engage?
If you're asked, I don't think that. I think that is a tool, but I wouldn't consider as what we did tonight complacent or trying to. I thought we were engaged the entire time, and I thought our defense showed that. But even when you are engaged, there's still moments when you want to manipulate the environment, and so I thought they took advantage of that.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
Drew, what key things for you guys in the fourth quarter where it felt like defense turned up a little bit and you were able to make plays down the stretch, and JT obviously had it going?
I think we just locked into the details. We know down the stretch there's been a couple games here where we haven't executed well, but I think once we kind of got the call on what to do, we all just kind of locked in and honestly just made plays.
Drew, you guys went through some rough patches there, didn't hit a three in the second quarter, but you managed to keep the game close. It's always like within 3 or 5. How'd you guys kind of mentally stick with the plan and keep going when offensively things weren't going your way?
Yeah, I think we've been through it. I think we've been through times where our shot maybe isn't falling the way we wanted to, knowing that we got a lot of good shots and they just weren't falling. But I think we rely on our defense a lot, being able to go into the court and know that our defense can save us at any time or keep it close. Having guys over there like what they have, we got to lock in defensively because they could kind of take off at any point. So I think our defense held it down for us today.
Drew, it looked like you showed your emotions a little more out there, and that kind of coincided with how physical the game was. Can you speak to kind of the aggressiveness on both sides of the game?
Yeah. I think the refs kind of let us play. I think just the history between the two teams and it coming down to a tight game like that, both teams are competitors. So when it comes down to it, we want to win the game just as much as anyone else. But I think sometimes games are going to get chippy, and honestly, I think us as players, we like it.
Drew, it feels like everyone on this team is very capable of excelling in multiple areas. Like they chase Sam off the three-point line, he steps in, he hits a mid-range shot. Derek doesn't have the best shooting night, he gets 3 steals. How important is it to have a group of guys who are so able to be so good in so many areas on the court?
Yeah, I think versatile players is something that we have, and at every position, everywhere. You see Neem out there guarding the point guard. You see, like you said, Derek making plays if his shot isn't falling. If Peyton wasn't on today, he's been on for the last 2 months. So at any given time, I think people step up, and it's just about trust. I think we trust each other, knowing that if my shot isn't falling or something like that, I can do more to affect the game.
Drew, the play when you basically made sure Giannis was not going to get that shot up, like late in the fourth quarter, and you just kind of walked away. It seemed like that type of physical game. They want what you have, right? They're trying to chase what you have. What's that like to play? You played them 3 times now in the last month. What's that like, that intensity, knowing they're trying to get to your level, they want what you have, and they're trying to push you?
Appreciating pushing us. I think that that's what makes the game fun. I think that's kind of why, or what battle tests us for the future. Obviously, I'd rather Giannis go to the free throw line, and he's pretty strong, so I don't want him to get a shot up. But I think for the most part, man, just being a competitor, just knowing that each game, or even a game like this, we want to win the game no matter what it takes, especially being at home in Boston. So took this game for what it is, and then we move on to the next one tomorrow.
Drew, late in the fourth quarter, a lot of the offense was JT trying to get past Brooks to make those kickouts. I feel like a lot of the time in the past, when somebody would get an isolation or like an isolation opportunity, it would be more for like an isolation shot. How have you guys kind of focused on using those cross matches late in games to open up those driving kicks?
Yeah, obviously JT and JB, but particularly tonight, JT in that fourth. I mean, nobody can guard him in the league. He's a tough guard, so obviously having Brook out on him and him driving, he pretty much knows, like, if I don't get by him, somebody's going to be open because they'll have to help. So JT, credit to him, just making plays for other people, trusting other people. You saw the kickouts that he had, and he had faith in his teammates. So that's what the best players do.
Drew, we talk a ton about your relationship with your former teammates, but at the opening tip, Brooke is kind of like playing around with you, all of that stuff. Can you just explain the mental process of like that kind of fun moment, and then lock in, battle, just do whatever you need to take to win, and then afterwards back to, hey, love you, brother type of thing. How do you mentally just compartmentalize all of that?
Just want to win. In between those lines, from when it's tip off to the buzzer, I want to win. So I love them, you know. It's great seeing them, but every time I play them, and probably even more so because they like my brothers, I want to whoop their ass every time. So, and they know that too. They feel the same way about me. And I think it's just about being competitors. But to be able to switch it on and off, I don't know. It's just like, hey, bro, good to see you. And then once the game starts, it's like, nah, we're not friends anymore.
Drew, with just the way you guys were shooting tonight, and I mean, the first time all year that you haven't hit a three in the second quarter, how do you maintain the fight to continue to get good shots and maintain a confidence, in those moments?
I think it's just about being consistent and persistent. I think we got a lot of good shots. Even in that second quarter, I think we got a lot of good shots that we liked and just didn't see it go in. And then at that point, you know, you figure at some point the shots are going to fall. You might hit a big shot here or there. Al had a huge three toward the end of the game, but you just kind of do what you're supposed to do. Do what's best for your team and best for the game, and you feel like everything will work out.
It's clear how much you want to win, but how much does Al Horford want to win?
Man, I mean, he's the OG. He's the one who's been doing it the longest. He's the one who holds us together, and I think being able to play next to him and see his intensity and him get riled up during the game, it brings everybody else along. So when Al speaks or you see him get emotional like that, it must be serious. But love to be out there with him.
Thank you, Drew.
Yeah.
Jayson, just what is it about this team that, when you go through periods of not hitting shots like you did in the second quarter, being able to stick with it, you guys never let the lead get too far out of control, and Joe said the defense never broke. What allowed you guys to kind of stay in it?
I think guys have a sense of awareness. Having been through it before, this group has, we've played in a lot of basketball games. We found a bunch of different ways to win, and we're a special team. We won a championship last year, and we understand the process of each night is going to look different, and we still need to play the right way, our way, regardless of if we're hitting shots tonight. We got to be ourselves.
We like to talk about, this was a playoff atmosphere, and I don't know how much of that you feel out there, but having gone through last year, winning a championship and a ton of playoff games, how does a game like this compare to that? And how, like you said, we've been through it. How does that compare? How does that allow you to kind of get through these games?
No, it wasn't a playoff game, but it was a special night. I've been here. This is my 8th year, and these nights, right, where you're playing a team that's really good with some special players, and the crowd is really involved, and guys are making plays, and you feeding off the energy of your teammates and of the crowd and the fans. And the amount of times that we've won games and moments like that, it's just like another special night at TD Garden that I've been a part of.
Jayson, you guys get Drew back tonight and obviously missed the last 2 games. What does just having his presence out there do for you?
It does a lot. I think, we compliment Drew about being a Swiss Army knife, right? We put him on point guards, we put him on the big man. We have him set screens, we have him handle the ball, facilitate, we have him post guards up. We just have Drew do a little bit of everything. And he's a big part of why we are who we are and why we're a special team.
You kept getting that Brook switch and driving past him for those kickouts in crunch time. I feel like in the past you might have used that as an opportunity to maybe get more to your step back or to swing it around the arc. What are you doing differently this year to be able to get past those guys when they're really trying to lock you up, and how does that open up the offense in crunch time?
Just learning from previous seasons, learning from previous games, understanding what they'll live with, and there are moments, right? I'm going to take a step back 3 or in rhythm, but knowing that you get past your defender, more likely going to help, and just about making the right read and finding an open man, because we have so many guys that are threats, can space the floor. And, when you attack a closeout, as a defender, that's the hardest thing to do is, guard somebody off a closeout. So we have so many guys that can put the ball on the floor. We just try to put the defense in those situations where they're, closing out on really good players, and, that's tough.
Jayson, what is your preparation, psychologically speaking, for these big moments in the final moments of the game? Because you just scored 14 points and made every shot you took in the last quarter.
I say it a lot. It's our staff does a really good job of, showing us film, or the days that we do have practice, putting us through reads of, situational basketball and, what the defense is, how they're going to guard us on a given night. So we rep it over and over. And so when we get in the game, first quarter or fourth quarter, everybody on the floor understands where to be, who we're trying to attack, what spacing we want, and we just play off of that. So, I give the staff a lot of credit, and, the guys on the team, we all have bought into that formula, and we stick with it.
Jayson, seemed like Deuce's birthday was like a national holiday or something. I'm curious, what do you remember from your 7th birthday, and what do you hope Deuce remembers from his?
Whew. I know I wasn't on the jumbotron at the Celtics game, but I think for me and him, it's special that we share these moments together. Deuce was born December 6, 2017. That was a month and a half into my rookie year, and it's crazy that now he's 7, and how much time has passed. But it's been really special that we've grown up together here in Boston, and shared a lot of cool moments and special moments here at the Garden. So he was excited about the game today. He liked being on the jumbotron. So it was a pretty cool moment for a 7-year-old.
Gary.
Jayson, did you enjoy the physicality, as long as they call it both ways, of this game?
Yeah.
Why?
It's a fine line, right, between as long as it's fair, right? If they get the pull and grab and push us, we should be able to do the same. And if that's how it's going to be the whole game, then I have no problem with that at all. It's competitive, it's fun, it's part of it.
You guys obviously talk a lot, Jayson, about playing a certain way and trying to play towards the math as much as possible. The way you guys play and the amount of pressure you put on the other team, do you feel that kind of wearing on them as the game goes on? And you saw late in the game, Dame tried to get that, draw that 3-shot foul, about a minute left. Giannis took that pull-up 3. Like you sort of sense that teams have to try to keep up with you guys mentally for the amount of pressure you put on them with the amount of sheer offense you can put up even on a night when you're not hitting shots.
Maybe the coaches think of it that way. We don't enter the game as trying to solve a math problem per se. We're really talented. We have some really talented guys on our team. Even guys that come off the bench that can really make plays, and we have the right personnel to space the floor and put teams in uncomfortable situations where we can attack mismatches. Naturally, bigs and shot blockers, they come and help at the rim, and we've just repped it over and over to make the right read, kick the ball out. So it's never like we come into the game, we got to shoot 53s tonight. We just got a bunch of 40% three-point shooters and a bunch of guys that can attack mismatches off the dribble, and we constantly just try to make the right play.
Since your rookie year, you've played them 3 times in the playoffs. You obviously now have Drew. You've played them countless times in the regular season. Does it feel any different playing against these guys because of all the history you guys have than it does against most teams when you do see them?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that about a few teams that I played frequently in the playoffs. It's just always a little something there as a competitor, because we've knocked them out in the playoffs. They've knocked us out. We both won a championship in the last couple of years. 2 prideful teams, and you just always know it's going to be a battle and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be really competitive.
Jayson, how excited are you to see Marcus tomorrow night? And what do you think if he is able to go, it'll be like to actually square off against him in an NBA game?
Yeah, thrilled to see Smart tomorrow. As you all know how much he means to this city, to this franchise. The ultimate Celtic. He'll always be a Celtic for life. I had played with him for 6 years. I didn't envision a time where I wouldn't be on his team. So if he does play tomorrow, it'd be a little weird, but probably go out there and tackle the shit out of him or something. But, I'm excited to see him. I know the fans are going to be thrilled to have Smart back in the building. So it's going to be a special moment.